Once upon a time. When did it happen? When did it not happen? Where did it happen? Where did it not happen? There was a guy named Bob, just enjoying life, doing flips all around the world when, oof, he hurt himself through accidents, poor posture, and the stress of his everyday workload. Ah, the boss is calling, the essay is due! His body gathered up its defenses and tightened up to form armor against the stress. But the problem with armor was that it was really hard to move around in. It was uncomfortable, and it wouldn't change or adapt to anything. He couldn't even do his flips anymore. So, what could be done but to stay still and rest for a while? On the one hand, that allowed his body some time for healing, rest, and recovery. But just when he thought he was better again, more stress came along. This time it was different. It was long-term stress, minor stress that just bugged him over and over again, and stress that accumulated over the course of months and years. One of these long-term stressors included his poor posture. It restricted blood flow through his body, blocking the flow of nutrients and wastes. Not only did it slow down his body's healing process, it even caused more damage. Another stressor was from his everyday actions and habits. For example, he would eat compulsively when under pressure, and then feel guilty. The effects of these daily conflicts, which were both physical and emotional, built up like straw on a camel's back. Another stressor was the unpredictable environment which we all live in and have to deal with. However, Bob just always wanted to hide, because he perceived danger in that environment, so he suffered from recurrent psychological stress. His body responded by becoming tighter to protect itself, which caused him pain. So one day, he decided to visit an osteopath, who created a temporary space free from everyday stress to allow Bob's body some time to just do what it was doing before, healing, rest, and recovery. But then of course the stress came back the moment he returned to everyday life. So what did Bob do but go back for a second treatment? And this time, the osteopath tried directly challenging the strain pattern, which meant to slowly start to challenge the protective armor that the body had created for itself. Bob felt freer, at least for a while. But then the stress came back again. So Bob went back to the osteopath, and there was another trick up their sleeve. This time, the osteopath tried working by indirectly easing off the strain pattern. This meant to support the body towards the direction that the armor was holding it in. This allowed the armor to take a break from working so hard and realize that the environment was safe now, so Bob's body could relax and find a new balance point. But then the moment Bob left, the stress came back. So what could be done? Let's have a look at this long-term stress. The osteopath explained to Bob that his problem of poor blood circulation could be addressed if he had a better awareness of his posture. That didn't mean to judge or fight his existing posture, but to take an attitude of curious observation towards his own body. That could be enough to destabilize old habits and for his body to start relaxing again. Then the osteopath drew Bob's attention to how stress was being caused by his everyday actions. For example, how Bob compulsively ate when under pressure but felt guilty afterwards. The osteopath encouraged Bob to review and rethink his everyday actions by practicing the thought, even though I have this feeling of hunger or guilt, I still deeply and completely accept myself. Through this process, Bob moderated his swings of emotional and physical stress, which allowed more time for healing, rest, and recovery. The osteopath then drew Bob's attention to the way he coped with living in an unpredictable environment. Bob's perceptions of danger caused him psychological stress, but was his perception based on reality or from a shadow from the past? The osteopath proposed 3 exercises that Bob could try to use to cope with living in an unpredictable environment. The first one was a calm awareness of his breathing, just allowing it to happen freely. It could be used as a simple exercise in letting go. For the second exercise, the osteopath encouraged Bob to widen his perception, to open up all his senses, his sight, hearing, touch, and taste, and allow all sensations to gently trickle in without picking or choosing one over the other. This could be called deep listening, which is a common element in various meditative practices. The third exercise that the osteopath suggested was for Bob to punctuate his day with moments of stillness, just to allow his feelings a chance to crystallize and gather. This could allow Bob to fall into a state of deep relaxation, which could help dissolve away his long-term stress. This overall reduction in long-term stress allowed Bob's body the time for healing, rest, and recovery. And the next time that Bob got injured and had to wait for his body to heal, he didn't feel quite so helpless as in the first time, because now he had tools to fend off that long-term stress. He knew that his awareness of posture and balance could improve blood flow through his body. He knew that he could review and rethink his everyday actions in order to accumulate less physical stress. He also knew ways to handle psychological stress from living in unpredictable environments. This reduction in long-term stress helped his body to heal itself much more easily, and from then on, Bob didn't need to go see the osteopath quite as often as before. So to this day, if Bob is alive, then all is well, and if he's not, then let him be.